Hello everyone. My name is Anu. I'm a customer success manager at Amoeboids Technology, and I'm your host today for the webinar from feedback to action, best ways to implement continuous feedback in Jira. So in this webinar, I'll walk you through how you can seamlessly integrate your feedback into your Jira workflows for continuous growth of your teams to implement coaching environment and the continuous collaboration with your team via continuous feedback within Jira. So first of all, let us talk about the agenda. So this is going to be our agenda. We will talk about why continuous feedback matters, what are the common challenges in Jira workflows with respect to feedback, best practices for implementing continuous feedback within Jira, how you can utilize feedback for coaching and tutorial creation with the help of the feedback that is rolling out within your organization, aligning your feedback with agile and performance goals. I'll also share one customer success story with you with respect to feedback, how they implemented UpRaise, and so on. And then we will do a live demo of UpRaise for continuous feedback module, followed by Q&A session. Yeah, so why feedback matters? So as we know, there are two things. One is traditional feedback and another is the continuous feedback. So in traditional feedback, generally people face some challenges like siloed communication where they are sharing their feedback at different in different systems or different on different platforms, like they are sharing feedback via emails or maybe a separate feedback tool they are using. They're adding their comments on Jira issues or sometimes in Excel sheet as well. Whereas in continuous feedback, you share the entire feedback within one system, right? In traditional feedback, the another challenge is that feedback is shared on delayed cycle. So for example, in today's case, let's say I saw something as a manager, I know that one of my direct reports could have done something better, and instead of sharing that today, I just share it in the year end review, right? Maybe semi-annual review or annual review. So that won't make an impact as it will make an impact if I share it today immediately with that person, right? So sharing delayed feedback may not help you because a lot of time has gone by in between and people might make the same mistake over the time again, right? So that is not going to help in terms of improvements. Lack of action oriented insights, right? So in this case, another thing could be that manager is not able to share the action oriented feedback. If someone is doing is not someone is not doing something correctly, how they can do it correctly, how they can improve themselves, or next time if they do the same task, what things they should take care of, right? So these kind of feedback action oriented insights are very important when you think that your team should grow with the feedback that you're sharing. On the other hand, in terms of continuous feedback, you can share the feedback every now and then, and you can keep it within one system. So for example, in case of UpRaise, your UpRaise app will sit within Jira, and you will be able to share that feedback within Jira itself, where everyone is using Jira, right? Then enhances collaboration between teams because you are able to share the feedback on ongoing basis, on regular basis. It increases the collaboration between your team and your peers, managers, direct reports, etc., right? And it drives continuous improvement because you are able to share the action oriented insight with them, or you are able to assist them, coach them via these feedback. So it completely brings a lot of changes within your organization when you're sharing continuous feedback with your teams. Best practices to implement continuous feedback within Jira. So these are some best practices that we have noticed over the time when our customers are using UpRaise app within Jira. So make feedback a habit. It is very important that you make it as a habit when you are to share this feedback every now and then with your colleagues, right? So it's not just that you just should share something that will help someone improve. If someone is doing fantastic job on something, they have done a commendable job, you can just simply acknowledge their efforts and share it with everyone within the organization that XYZ has done really good job on this task, and this is how we, they should keep up, right? So this also encourages people who are already doing good work. So you need to make a habit. You have to find that opportunity to share the feedback, and you should keep sharing that feedback. Use structured feedback formats. So it is possible that you want to have standardized templates within Jira to share the feedback, so it becomes easy for people to adopt that culture because they get the ready snippets or the templates to share the feedback. Then link feedback with your goals and performance. So within UpRaise, you have another module called OKRs, objectives and key results. If you are utilizing that modules, or if you are doing your OKRs within organization, you can associate your feedback with those OKRs. Also, whatever feedback you have shared over the time in a certain duration, you can utilize that feedback in your performance reviews. So there is another module called performance reviews within UpRaise, and you will be able to see the feedback people have received from their colleagues, direct reports, managers, etc. in that performance review, and you can just take a look at what feedback they have received in past 1 year or 6 months and so on. Ensure the visibility and actionability, right? So like I said, if there is something that is really fantastic to be shared with everyone, you can make it available for everyone, share that feedback across your entire channel, or you can limit that visibility to a specific person or team. So you can ensure that visibility, who should have access to what kind of feedback. And you can also track, measure and follow up on the given feedback via comments or one-to-one communication. So these are some best practices that you can implement when you are using continuous feedback within Jira. Then coaching and tutorials. So it's not only about giving or requesting feedback, helping someone improve, commending, acknowledging someone's job. It's also about improving your internal processes, right? So feedback as a coaching tool, you can use it as a coaching tool. So like I said, managers can provide in moment guidance to improve the performance. They can immediately share the feedback, they can discuss on that, they can add comments on that, and help individuals to grow through structured and ongoing feedback. So it becomes a coaching tool in a way where you are having one-to-one conversations, or sharing one-on-one feedback with people on frequent basis as a coaching, to create that coaching environment. Whereas another way of using this data, continuous feedback data, is to utilize this data in tutorials and knowledge sharing. So for example, as a team member, one of the team members, I have been doing something or working on a certain project for some time. And as a team member, I think, okay, these are few things that we can do to improve our processes or to get more out of our efforts, get better results. So I can give that feedback to my manager that, okay, this is what we can do to improve the process. And if that feedback is valid, and then that feedback can be used to, do the knowledge sharing or create your internal tutorials, guidelines, etc. Right? So you can utilize that feedback internally to improve your processes as well. Aligning continuous feedback with agile and performance goals. Right. So in Jira, you are working on agile terminology or the process where you have sprints, you have sprint reviews, retrospectives, and all. So in this case, you can loop your feedback with your Jira issues and make that agile process more easy, and you can make it more collaborative from the feedback perspective. You can link your feedback with Jira issues and OKRs as well. And you can measure the impact of the feedback on the team performance with the help of different reports that are provided, or different feedback that you get, and so on. Now, this is a customer story. So one of our customer who was basically from software and IT development industry, they found UpRaise because they were of course using Jira as well, and they were facing some challenges where they were not able to share structured feedback with their within their team, and the reviews that they were doing were quite inconsistent, which was not really helping to improve their teams or the individuals within their organization. So they implemented UpRaise for and the continuous feedback module within their organization, and as a solution we could provide them real time and structured feedback system with the in the form of UpRaise continuous feedback module. um, UpRaise is a Jira app, so it has a very tight integration, seamless integration with Jira. So it helped them to increase the adoption, right? So if it is some other tool that is a separate tool, people will have to log in into it separately, and whenever they want to share a feedback, look at the feedback, they will have to log in another system. Rather than that, since UpRaise sits within Jira, everyone is using Jira day in day out, they will find everything within Jira itself. So it increases the adoption because they are already using one system, and this app is kind of an add-on to the existing features of the Jira. Enhance peers and manager feedback culture. So of course, because of continuous feedback sharing, because of having a habit of sharing feedback every now and then with their peers and other team members, it increased the collaboration between the peers and managers, right? And as a impact, or as a result, they saw 70% increase in the feedback people have started sharing before they were not using UpRaise, right? So now there is an increase of 70% in feedback sharing. They saw improved employee engagement and performance tracking ability, and it was faster and helpful effective performance management reviews as well. So like I said, you can utilize feedback into the performance reviews as well. So overall, it helped them to set their continuous feedback process within their organization. So what are the key takeaways that we learned from this particular customer story is continuous feedback boosts team collaboration and growth because people can communicate with each other. They tend to collaborate with each other more, and then people are automatically growing because of the continuous feedback they keep getting, the coaching environment that has been created, and so on. Integrating feedback into daily workflow drives more adoption, right? So because of the Jira, daily Jira being a daily tool being used by people, it increase the adoption. So you need to have right integrations in place for increasing the adoption and set more best practices for feedback driven culture. So whatever you experience from the regular processing of the continuous feedback, you can keep setting your best practices to make the feedback driven culture more impactful within your organization. So this was just one of the stories of our customers, a success story of our customers. Now we will go to the live demo. So we are going to see how you can give feedback to each other, how you can request one, and what all features are there in terms of the feedback. So I hope you can still see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So currently I'm in the UpRaise. This is my Jira instance where I have installed UpRaise. And to navigate to continuous feedback, you can just click on this icon here, feedback icon, and you will, as a user, of course, non-admin user, you will be able to see summary and feedback tabs here. And you can see these two quick buttons here to give feedback and to request a feedback. So when I click on give feedback, you would notice that I can select the subject of this particular feedback, right? I can give feedback to someone in the team. This is 360 feedback, so you can give and request feedback to and from anyone. There are few things like you like what this feedback is related to. whether it is related to an independent work, or you want to talk about the Jira issue, or the objective or the key result that you are already doing in UpRaise, right? So you can tie your feedback with these three aspects here, elements here, or you can give an independent feedback. You can utilize the different tags. So we will also talk about some configurations in brief. So these tags are completely customizable. You can choose your description, tag names, color codings, etc. You can add more tags. So you can customize it completely. Then you can select labels to uh, classify your feedback, I would say, like whether this feedback is related to commitment, expectation setting, etc. So you can select those tags. You can use the different formats, right? So for example, you can just write a small snippet and save it. So this is another part of the configurations, feedback configuration. And you can let people use their feedback immediately within the continuous feedback module. You can also use the uh, this AI feature. So what I will do is I'll quickly copy one feedback snippet here and add it here, and I'll say, okay, I have just drafted it, but I just want um, you know, okay, just give me a moment. I'll just cancel it. Maybe some network error here. I'll again randomly select some feedback here, and I'll just try to do this. Yeah, and you can see based on the draft that I have added, um, AI has suggested me some feedback that I can use, right? I can either accept it, discard, or try again to get some other kind of feedback here, right? And then you will be able to compare that, and whatever is correct, you can just use that particular feedback, right? And share it with the users. Now, to whom it should be accessible. So you can share it with all users in the system, of course, or you can share it with selected team, selected users, etc. So there is a complete control over visibility. So if you want to share something good, you can share it with everyone. So it becomes an encouragement, right? But if there is something that is very, specific to the users, you can keep it just between that user and you as a personal feedback or the private feedback. So that's how you can create feedback. And once you save it, this person will receive an email notification. They will also get Slack notification. So I'll just quickly show you what kind of notifications they get, right? So this is just a sample that I had kept open, right? So someone shared a feedback with me, and you can see the feedback. And if you want to navigate to that link, you can quickly click on that link and go to that feedback within UpRaise. When I'm sharing it, or this also sends an notification, a notification on Slack if your Slack is integrated, of course. So you can see someone shared a feedback with you, so that is available within this channel. If someone is sharing a personal feedback with you, we will also have this appraise bot where you can see this feedback, right? So in this way you will be able to see the feedback. Um right, so these are some integration point of view. This is from some integration point of view for Slack also, how people will receive an email notifications, apart from just able to being able to viewing that feedback from the app itself. uh, let's talk about requesting a feedback. So again, I can request a feedback for myself. In that case, I'll say, okay, feedback, share for me. So my name is already there. But if I'm asking that feedback for someone else, I can choose that as well. Who is going to share that feedback? And then what that feedback is about, right? So this time, maybe I'll just select a Jira issue here, right? And I might use a format, or I might also just draft my own request here and ask for that request, right? So in this way, I can share a feedback. I have asked a feedback for Arun from David. So in this case, typical examples are, let's say there is an employee who is on probation, and as an HR, I want to know how that person is doing over the 3 months from the manager of that employee. So I can quickly request a feedback. Okay, please tell me how XYZ person is performing, as it's 3 months since that person has joined and their probation is due in 3 months. So that's how you can request for the feedback and utilize continuous feedback feature within your organization. So that is about giving and requesting a feedback. Let us go to the summary tab first of all, right? So this is the summary tab where you can see feedback for different durations. I have selected all time here, so you can see how many feedback I have received, how many of I have given. Shared feedback is something where I'm not really a subject or the person who is providing the feedback, but that is shared with me for some reason, right? So it is all user shared feedback or explicitly shared feedback. How many requests I have sent, how many requests I have received, and then the notes. So notes is kind of an interesting part here. So for example, I have noticed something in my direct reports work, and I want to note it down as in my notes, right? I don't want to share it immediately. Maybe that's not the right time to share, and I want to discuss it in the meeting or performance reviews and so on. So in this case, you select none option for shared with, right? And just add the feedback that you want to share, right? So here I'll just say, okay, test comments, because I'm not, or I'll just see, I can, yeah, copy it, right? And I can save it, right? So you will notice that it is saved as my note here, right? So this is the note I have just saved here. So in this way, you can save it as notes as well, and you can utilize or share that feedback later or bring that point in your discussions. Also, if we look at this, here system is going to provide you some suggestions. I have not shared feedback with this user since last 1 year, and maybe I want to share that feedback with them. So it encourages people to use the feature or share the feedback, and it helps increasing the adoption. You will also be able to see feedback related recent activities, right? So this is the feedback that you can see. Then you will be able to see uh, what all feedback have been shared with respect to different tags, right? So you can see some stats here for given and received feedback. You can also look at the trends. So what trends have been there in terms of feedback sharing across people. So it helps you to understand how people have been adopting. If that graph goes up, whether that graph goes down, right? So this is for given, received, requested feedback. So you can see these different points here, or the graph here, in with respect to the adoption. And you can also see the stats around labels, right? So if I click on this, I can see, okay, attention to detail, there are 11 feedback. And then in terms of attention to detail label, there are 10 feedback that are with need improvement tag, and there is one with keep up tag, right? So I can just look at these levels, how people are using those levels, and how much, what kind of feedback they are sharing, what tags are associated with these different levels, and so on. So this will give you a complete summary of how feedback is being exchanged within the, you know, teams when it comes to the continuous feedback. Now, talking about this feedback tab, so here you can see these different sections: received, given, shared, and so on. So currently I have clicked on received. If I click on given, it will show me the number of feedback I have given to someone, and so on. You can also see what tags have been used in, the numbers across the tags. So 3, I'm a fan feedback, 3, fantastic work feedback, and so on. You can also filter that feedback if you want to look at a specific feedback, receivers with respect to a specific tag, durations, labels, etc. And you can also scroll down to see this feedback. Now, here you can see this feedback is given for the Jira issue, right? So I'll just quickly step back and I'll just tell you what I'm talking about. So this is the Jira issue feedback. So when you are sharing this feedback with respect to Jira issue, this is how it will look like. If I open this Jira issue, I'll be able to see an UpRaise panel on the Jira, and I can quickly see what feedback has been shared here, right? So it has OKR module, of course, and then the feedback. I can also give and request feedback from this page. So I can see, okay, these are all feedback I have received on this particular Jira issue. Or if I want to give it from right from here, I can do that as well. So here, some steps are eliminated here. I don't really have to select these two fields here because I'm giving feedback or requesting feedback right from the Jira issue details page. So this again makes it easy for people to utilize continuous feedback within UpRaise because it sits within Jira. It is there on the Jira issue detail page. So it helps to increase the um, adoption as well. Then we have one report here which is related to continuous feedback trends, right? So I can again select different durations. When I select all time, I can see that the trend of the feedback, how people have been sharing feedback with each other, what kind of notes they have been creating, and so on, right? Then again, the feedback creation across the teams, you can see it. So for each team, how many feedback they have been creating, you can see it. Average feedback created per team is also disclosed here. So this helps you to understand which team is adopting the feedback more, which team isn't, what steps you can take to increase that adoption for a specific team, and so on. So this will help you to look at the adoption of the feedback and then take specific measurable steps on that. Then feedback across, sorry, feedback distribution across the tags. So it just it is showed in the pie chart. So 30% feed fantastic work, or 10% keep up tag have been used, and so on. So you can understand what tags are mostly used or what tags are barely used in the feedback, and maybe you can also work on your tags, change them, edit them, or add more, something like that. And then average feedback created per employee. So that is also possible to track here, right? So here you can see the feedback average per employee. Then feedback distribution across the levels. Again, the distribution across the levels. So this will also help you to understand what kind of levels you should use, and so on. Then top feedback providers who have been sharing feedback most, top feedback requesters. So this will also help you understand who is adopting these, how people are adopting it, or how people are utilizing this, and so on. So this is the report that will definitely help you to get some data out of the feedback module, and you can take appropriate steps to make sure that this adoption is increasing, or it's always as expected. So you can also track whether app is serving, or whether you are able to achieve your goals with respect to the feedback module and the culture. Now, um, talking about settings, right? So I had talked about configurations in at some places. So yeah, before that, I'm sorry, I forgot about one more thing. So yeah, this objective, right? So again, you can give feedback or request feedback on OKRs as well, objectives or key results. So in this case, I'm sharing this feedback on this particular objective, which is part of our OKR module, objectives and key results module. This is a company level objective where someone had received a feedback, right? If I go to feedback shared, I can see that feedback right on that page. I can also give and request, same like Jira issue, the way I showed you, it works in the similar way where I can quickly share a feedback on that particular objective or the key result. So this again aligns with your regular objectives and key results that you are already working on. It's not just about the Jira issues. You can, of course, utilize the feedback when people are working on certain quarterly goals or semi-annual, annual goals, right? Or the key results that they are working on. So this again creates a coaching environment within your organization with respect to the yearly goals or whatever goals people are trying to achieve in their professional career. So this is about giving, requesting, feedback, reports, and all. I'll just quickly touch base on different possible configurations here, right? So, like I said, you can create these different tags based on what kind of tags you want in your organization. Then you can add labels. You can allow people to create the labels, or you can just simply create them and let people use the existing labels. Then you can also set the default visibility, right? So in terms of visibility, if you say, okay, selected users will be the default visibility. So when I click on give feedback, it will always be that option. So by mistake, no one is going to share that feedback with all users, because we have heard this many times that someone shared a feedback with all users, although it was not supposed to be shared with everyone. So in that case, you can just, to avoid those things, you can just make sure that the feedback is by default shared with selected users. Then feedback formats. So I have created some formats here. So if I edit one of them, you can see that whether you want to, what is the type of that feedback, where this particular format will be used, on the request feedback window or the give feedback window. And you can just write that snippet here and let people use it. Feedback links, you can decide whether, so independent work will be by default there, but you can decide whether you want to link these feedback with OKRs, Jira issues or not. You can export the data for different periods here and get that data out of the system in Excel sheet and utilize that data internally. Then Slack integration is there, so you can integrate the Slack channel, so you can decide on which channel my feedback should go, right? The feedback that is shared with all will be broadcasted on that particular channel, right? So in my case, this is on the random channel. In our case, you can create a separate channel for that, or you can utilize the existing channel and select that channel here. So in this way, this is completely flexible in terms of configuring your feedback setting. And of course, you can share and request feedback to and from anyone. So it becomes more flexible to set your feedback process. So yeah, that's all about the entire feedback module that I wanted to talk about. So let's move on to the question and answer session. So Francis, do you have any questions?
Wow, wow, that's really so much to comprehend. But so far, it's just it's been the class was well detailed, and I don't think I have any questions because it was clear. You were clear enough with what you did and the examples about what. Now, the area where I had initially I had a question was the integration with the whether the Slack channel or whatsoever the GitHub or so integrating it to any communication platform, but which you already threw light and showed how that is being done. So on my
Mhm.
end, I have no question. No.
Okay, glad to know that I could possibly answer all the questions you might had, and I hope I covered it all from the feedback perspective. So, you mentioned that you're already using Jira, right? At the start of
No,
the
no,
call.
no.
Mhm. Okay.
No, no, I'm not. I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So yeah, that's all from our side. And maybe we can catch up sometime later if you think there is a requirement of feedback module within your organization, and yeah, then we can take this further.
Okay, I would really love to catch up on sometime with you. If that's fine by you.
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay. All right, I'll reach out to you.
Yep. Thank you.